Hello people, today I'm doing a review for the new MCU movie Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I had pretty high expectations going into this movie, and I just got done watching it about an hour and a half ago. So let's get right into the review. What did I like about this movie? I thought the cast was great. Simu Liu, Awkwafina, Tony Leung, everyone was just great in this movie. Everyone gave a great performance, and the whole cast, just everyone played off so well off of each other, particularly Simu Liu and Awkwafina. And yeah, another thing, my favorite part about the movie was the family dynamic, surprisingly. I thought everything in that area was just so well done, particularly with its payoff. Everything with the family is just perfect. It really is. With the flashbacks are probably some of the most effective flashbacks we've had in the whole MCU. It really is. The choreography in this movie was just so good. The choreography, the so well done. I cannot express enough. What you hear about the choreography is true. It really is. The movie is funny. Aquafina is hilarious. So there's another character. I'm not going to say he or she's name because it's kind of a spoiler, but he or she is hilarious as well. The character development in this movie, the way they interlink the family dynamics with the character development is just so well done, and the writing was really on point with this movie. It really was. The villain, the best type of villains in the MCU are the villains that don't feel evil, but you know what they're doing is wrong, and that's what Tony Leung brought with the Mandarin, and it was just so good. So yeah, let's get into what kind of threw me off about this movie though. And what threw me off was the third act. And I'm sorry to say that, but I will say I liked this third act more than I liked the third act of Black Widow. So this third act isn't necessarily a bad third act. It's just Marvel has this bad tendency of having their third act not as strong as its first two acts. So yeah, of course, you get the typical CGI kind of irritating me, particularly, well, on spoiler. Well, there's this one CGI event that happens towards the end, and they just have to, I'll just say, they clearly green screen people onto this thing, and it looks not that great to me. But yeah, I thought the CG was a little worse than the CG in Black Widow. But I thought the CG on Black Widow was a little overhated. But now I'm here saying I think the CG in Shang-Chi is a little overrated. So, who knows? But the third act cliches, I'm just a little tired of it. Like I said, the third act isn't terrible in this movie. It feels a little cliche at moments. Like, I'm tired of the army versus army stuff. We had it in Black Panther. We had it in Endgame. I'm just a huge army versus huge army. I'm just a little tired of it. But what maybe has me a little disappointed in the third act was the setup for the third act was just so good, because the way that they interlink flashbacks with what's going on present day was all really well done. Maybe when we get to the normal Marvel third act, I was a little disappointed because I was really expecting really something special with the third act, but it didn't quite get there for me. And what my biggest problem with the movie was the way they, not necessarily the third act, but before that, they interlinked the comedy into action. The way, for me to get really tensed up in an action sequence, I can't have comedy in there. It doesn't make me tense. And that's what I want in action. I want to be tensed up like I was in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And I need the CGI to be a little bit better than what it was in this movie. And so, if you're in every action sequence, I was like, oh, that choreography is so great, but the CG is a little questionable right there. Or I was like, why'd you have to put a joke right there? It was fine enough. You don't have to distract the audience with a joke. But not to say that the movie wasn't funny. It just didn't feel necessary at all the moments it was placed. But that's a typical Marvel trope that I almost expected, and I don't want to sound like I did not like this movie, because I did like this movie. I was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end. There's questionable CGI, but that's expected. The third act isn't as good as the first two, but I still like the third act, if that makes sense. But I just really hope, it still feels like Marvel's playing it just a little safe, and I really need for them to go for it. I really need them to do that. And they didn't do that with this movie all the way for me. But like I said, I still really like this movie. And I'm still going to give it an 8.3 out of 10. I had lots of fun. If you're a huge Marvel fan, you're going to love this. If you don't mind comedy and your action, you're going to adore this. If you are used to the Marvel questionable CG, you're going to love this movie. It's just, so when Marvel keeps on making the same mistakes over and over again, it gets a little frustrating on my end. But yeah. Anyways, comment down below what you guys thought. Clearly, like I said, 8.3 is still a great score, and it's still like a B on a test, and B is good. I went through last 3 years of math with a B, so clearly, it's just people are throwing out this is the best MCU movie. This is a 9 point blah 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 out of 10. And so when I hear it, I'm giving this movie an 8.3. I'm like, huh? So, but what makes me lower this is just for personal taste. And if you love the MCU and you like the way it is right now, you're gonna love this movie. It's just there's just some problems that are just like I said, personal taste. So, yeah. Anyways, why am I afraid to give this movie an 8.3 when 8.3 is still a great score and it's still like in the top 10 of the year so far? So yeah. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that, and adios.